new time, or old time, I don't know. Anyway, back to the fearless lead at WF2Q.
Yeah, okay, Howie, very good. Let's check my frequency here. A little high, so... Hang on 1 second here. Excuse me. That looks pretty decent. 35.8 something, so close enough for AM, that's for sure. Well, very good, Howie. Good morning to you, and good morning to Jeff and Steve. And again, I heard Gary, very strong in here, Gary, very strong. I'm not sure if you've done anything different with your antenna or anything like that, but boy, just a notable difference. Maybe just the propagation between us this morning is very good. Jim, I was hearing you find, of course, Bob, GTH, and Perry, W3MMR, down there, and I think he's in Pennsylvania, but I'm trying to remember where. Let's see if I made a note of where. I don't think I did. Well, in any case, good morning, Steve Perry. Yeah, I just wrote Pennsylvania. I didn't write whereabouts you were, so. Very good. Just went in the Viking 2 and listening on the HQ129X. Same old dipole antenna, and just trying to sip some coffee here. So I guess I'll do a quick propagation check and just, I think, Steve, you're probably the farthest station. So how are you hearing me down there this morning before we get things rolling? This is N1VIV.
Yeah, I hear you fine down here, Joe. You're running about 25 over on the 75A4 S meter. A little bit up and down QSB. Remember, we lost a little darkness in the morning an hour earlier, minus 6 minutes or so, but we gained, so it's kind of like operating a little bit later, but we'll pick that back up as we move along. And yeah, Gary's stronger. I think Gary's flat out running more power. He's running the DYY, which runs legal limit. So I think that's what's making Gary's signal bigger, more power. More power, so there you go. And yeah, we're missing VTP. Where's Al? Where's Al and Rosie? So that's about it from here. We'll get it back to you, Joe, and just about time to start. I'm looking at 7:59 here. Go ahead, Joe, pick it up. K2 Fuzzy Wuzzy in southern New Jersey.
Yeah, very good, Steve. K2FW. In the AM carrier Phoenix. This is N1VIV. Well, very good. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. I've got some. I'm sure my voice probably sounds a little nasally for whatever reason. It's kind of congested today, but no trouble. We'll figure it out. And I don't think I'm going to need to be going anywhere today. I've got a lot of stuff going on the home front after the net wraps up, so I'm not going to be rushing out here, which is nice. But I will need to get on to multiple other projects and things going on. Lots of stuff going on at work and all that. So it is 8 o'clock, so let's roll things here. One more sip of coffee. And I think we'll be good to go. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to the AM Carrier Net. My name is Joe. My call is N1VIV, and I'm located in Stonington, Connecticut. The AM Carrier Net meets every Sunday morning here at 3835 on the 75-meter band at 8 a.m., now standard time. The AM Carrier Net was established for the purpose of promoting and enjoying operations in the AM mode. It's a casual net, so there's no requirement for check-in other than being able to operate in the AM mode. We certainly like to hear from news stations who are just beginning to express interest in operating AM, whether you're trying to resurrect an old boat anchor, or maybe trying to get a more modern radio to sound good on AM on any given Sunday. There's a whole host of participants with knowledge and information to that end, so all are welcome. Please join in. The format of the net is take check-ins by call district. If there's check-ins during round 1, we typically pack those folks in at the end of round 1. And if there's check-ins during round 2, we typically try to weave those folks in as we go. Certainly want to pause momentarily and say good morning to anybody who might be just in the listening mode, whether you're a licensed radio amateur or maybe a shortwave listener. In either case, if you're just listening, good morning. Also want to let folks know, if for whatever reason you're on a short timeline this morning, just let me know when you check in by saying something like, please float me to the top, and I will do my best to get you in at the top of round 1 so that we can get you in here, and then off to whatever other responsibilities you may have. Let's see. Other formalities. No, I don't think so. Boy, I'm getting through this cup of coffee pretty quickly, but I'm grateful for that, because I've got to get to a higher state of consciousness here as quickly as possible. I got the extra hour of sleep, and it did me well, but it's making it a little tougher to wake up, I guess. So, here are the stations that I've heard in the pre-net experience. Steve, K2FW, Harry, WFTQ, Jeff, WHRIS, Gary, K1IC, Jim, WA2MER, Bob, W1GTH, and Perry, W3MMR, down there in Pennsylvania. So let's take check-ins from the first call district. 1 land stations for the AM carrier net. Please call now. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, good morning, Joe.
KE1LI.
KD1SH. Good morning.
Yeah, I think there might have been a sideband station trying to check in there. I guess, well, I could shift gears. It would be a little impractical at this moment anyway, but so if you have the ability for AM, feel free to flip that switch and we'll try to draw you in here. Let's see, I heard Greg, KE1MI, up there in Vermont. Good morning to you, Greg, and Bill, KD1SH, there in the northeast corner of Connecticut. Very good indeed. There may have been another station there, I'm not sure. So any other 1 land stations for the net, please call now.
Whiskey 1 Zulu Bravo.
Well, Jerry, and then I think Mark underneath there just to make sure. So W1ZB, good morning to you, Jerry. Great. And then was that KB1PLC? I think that was you, Mark. Yeah, I'm not hearing you that loud. I'm not sure if there's something going on with your audio there. But we've got you, and I can tell it's you, so that's a good place to start, for sure. And it may just be either power level or something else that might not be having me hear you that right, but I am hearing you. Good morning. Let's see, any other 1 land stations for the net, please call now. Okay, this is N1VIV. Let's check on 2 land, if there's any other 2 land stations. Second call district stations for the net, please call now. This is N1VIV. I heard a little voice there, and I think it's Jim, but I'm not sure. And I didn't quite catch the prefix. Give that to me again. Yeah, very good. A long time no here, Jim. At least during the time that I've been, I've missed a few weeks here. But WB2TPS, Jim in Long Island. Boy, it's been some time since we've heard from you. So it's great to hear from you, and nice to hear you coming into the net here. So I I'm surprised. Sometimes I don't do such a great job over long periods of time remembering folks' names. But pulled it out of the memory bank because you were such a stalwart check-in in years past. So great to hear you. Thanks, Jim, for coming in. We'll get you in the rotation here for sure. Any other two land stations for the net, please call now.
KV2N, QN, good morning.
All right, there's Steve in Roslyn. Good morning to you, Steve. KV2N, QN. Excellent, very good. Well, we've got quite a turnout here at the top of the hour. That's excellent. We'll move things around here so we're not holding folks up. Let's see, any other, let's just do a general call-up, I guess, now. Any stations anywhere, 1, 2, 3 stores and beyond. For the AM carrier net, please call now.
This is Kilo Charlie Tree, Romeo Oscar Bravo.
Yeah, I heard Kilo Charlie 3, Romeo Oscar Bravo. Let's see if we have a note on you, sir. I don't know. You might be a new check-in, and I will certainly float you to the top if that's the case. Looking back on some of my three-land notes here. I apologize if we have talked before on the net here. I didn't make a note of it, or I don't recall. So let's get you up to the top, sir. That way you can do introductions. Kilo Charlie 3, Romeo Oscar Bravo. We've got you floated to the top there. So very nice to have you in. My name is Joe, and I'm in Stonington, Connecticut. My call is N1VIV, so we'll get you up to the top for introductions here for sure. Good morning to you. Let's see. Any other stations anywhere checking into the AM carrier net, please call now. This is N1VIV. All right, nothing else heard there. I had to shed my sweatshirt there momentarily. Started to build up some extra heat, and kind of uncomfortable. So taking off a layer, even though there's not a lot of heat down here in the basement, it's warm enough to do so for now. So quite a turnout. Let's give a check here. I have 15 so far, so that's pretty notable. So we'll get things rolling here because I'm sure some folks may need to transition out. I'm just going to give one more listen just in case any other stations anywhere are wishing to check into the net. Please call now.
Hey, Joe, I'm counting 14. I must be missing someone.
Oh, you know what? I counted pretty quickly, and I may have counted the three-land station twice. No, I do have 15. So when I do the rundown, Steve, I guess maybe look for somebody that you don't have on your list. But looks like I do have 15, including myself. So let's run down the list, and that way everybody will have it, and we'll get things launched. I guess we have Al is conspicuously absent. You know, maybe catching a few extra Z's with Rosie there, but chances are Al will be making his way onto the frequency at some point in the not too distant future, so that'll be good. And maybe there'll be other check-ins as well. So here's the rundown. I'm going to get things started with just a few brief comments, and then I'm going to send it over to a new check-in, which is Kilo Charlie 3, Romeo Oscar Bravo, KC3ROB. KC3ROB, please send it over to Steve, K2FW. K2FW would send it over to Howie, WF2Q. WF2Q would send it to Jeff, WA2RAS. WA2RAS would send it to Gary, K1IC. And K1IC would send it over to Jim, WA2MER, there in northern New Jersey. WA2MER would send it to Bob, W1GT8. W1GTH would send it down to Perry, W3MMR down there in Pennsylvania. W3MMR would send it to Greg, KE1MI up there in Vermont. And KE1MI would send it to Bill, KD1SH in the northeast corner there of Connecticut. KD1SH would send it to Joe, W1ZB. And W1ZB would send it to Mark, KB1PLC. There in KB1PLC would send it to Jim, WB2TPS. Boy, it's been a long time, Jim, since we spoke. I, may have missed you or not recalling, but it's awfully nice to hear you back again. Welcome. Welcome back. WB2TPS would turn it over to KB2NQN. And then if there's any other check-ins, Steve, we'll tack them in after you. If not, it'll come back up to the top of the list for me for a shot at round 2. And so I guess if folks would let me know if you're able to stay for round 2, or if you are kind of just a one and check them out. Either way is just fine. But I'll try to keep the best notes I can. That way round 2 will be notated fairly cleanly. So as I mentioned, I'm just on the Viking 2, listening on the Hammerland HQ-129X. And not much else going on here. We did have a pretty sizable windstorm blow through here. This would have been Thursday night. We lost power for a very brief period of time, and then it kicked back on. And man, I was grateful because it went out, and then it went back on, then it went out, and it came back on, went out, and then it came back on and stayed on. And, just with some of the troubles we've had with that lately, I was really not looking forward to wrestling without power, so to speak. So that was good that it came back on and stayed on from all I could tell. I went to sleep right about the time it was going through those machinations. Got a lot of outside cleanup to do with leaves and twigs and all that stuff, but I'm not sure how much of that I'm going to get to today. I've got a bunch of inside work to do. I've got a bunch of writing to do for work, working up against a very busy time of reporting my realm of work, and so it's just super busy, but we're going to find our way through it, that's for sure. I guess one of the notable things, my younger son and I took his first foray into learning to drive yesterday afternoon. He's been in a driver's ed class now for a few weeks, and it lasts about 15 weeks, so there's no rush, but well, we might as well get to it. And so we were in a big, huge Mark's parking lot not far from here, and it's a 2008 Volkswagen Jetta with a 5-speed manual transmission. So it does take some getting used to, right? But by the end of the 45 minutes or an hour, I don't know, 20 styles. It's just normal. Figuring out how to use a clutch is not necessarily intuitive. And so he was starting to get the hang of it. And we're going to do some more work on it today. And then just try to build up consistently small little opportunities. And before you know it, he'll be driving. And I'll be adding somebody to the insurance. It's fine. It's all just part of the phase of life, right? So we're figuring it all out. It'll be just fine. Let's see. That's about it from this end. Gorgeous sunny day here. I'm going to need to rustle up some more coffee once we launch round 1 here, and we'll carry on. So let's get it on down to our new check-in and get all of his particulars, and then we'll go from there. So good morning to you, sir. My name is Joe, and I'm in Stonington, Connecticut, and you're checking into the AM carrier net we meet every Sunday morning. So very great to have you on board. and welcome. So let's send it over to you, sir, and then you'll be sending it to K2FW down there in southern New Jersey. So KC3 Romeo Oscar Bravo and the AM carrier net. Good morning. This is N1VIV. Take it away.
Good morning. Thank you very much, Joe. N1VIV, KC3ROB. The name here is Rob, and I was just dialing through, and I realized I was hearing someone on AM rather than single sideband, so I thought I'd check it out. And your signal was fading in and out, and then just as you got close to introducing me, it got nice and bright and strong. So I'm just going to assume the propagation's working well both ways. I'm here in Hampstead, Maryland, about 30 minutes or so northwest of Baltimore City. I work down in Baltimore City, and I'll actually be working there today. Been a ham operator for a couple of years, and I've got my extra license earlier this year, oddly enough, while the government was shut down, so I had to wait like 30 months for that to actually become official. But yeah, I got getting ready to go grab a shower. I've got a sister-in-law who has been debilitated a bit by cancer, unfortunately, and she's been struggling to get herself back to where she wants to be, and she's doing better as we go along. But she used to be a waitress at a really nice diner about an hour from here, and so we're going to go visit her. She's not waitressing, but she's going to be the hostess today. And so I was talking to the XYL saying, hey, we haven't been back there for a while, and she's there hosting. We might hurry up and get ourselves over there and do all of that. So I'm looking forward to it. Then I got to go into work. I work as a building manager at Johns Hopkins University down in Baltimore City. We've got an event today. The Baltimore Choral Arts Society is having their big performance. And so somebody's got to stand around and say, yeah, it really is 70 degrees in the space, and no, the humidity's not all that bad, and yes, you cannot bring food into the auditorium, that sort of thing. And in the meantime, catch up on emails for the regular work week. I'm going to have to make this my 73 round because I can hear her calling and telling me we got to get ready to go. But it was great talking with you all. Joe, N1VIV, thank you so much. I wouldn't mind a signal report as well. I'm going to pass it off to Steve, K2FN, or Kilo 2 Foxtrot November. I'm sorry, I take that back. I think that N really is a W, so it'll be K2FW, heading off to Steve. Y'all take care. Have yourselves a great day, folks. Enjoy the weather. We're having it nice here as well. And an extra hour of nothing to do. Oh, and by the way, with the time change, you need to set your swells back 10 pounds. KC3, ROB, back to K2FW.
Yeah, Rob, before you go, I'm due east of you in South Jersey. You are exactly due west of me, so you're in the very northern part. What are you using on AM? Some guys are using solid state equipment. I would say probably most people here on this net are still using the old boat anchor vacuum tubes. What are you using for AM activity, Rob? Over.
KC3RB. Run an ICOM IC7100 running to an AH4 tuner in the backyard, which sprouts out to a G5RV. I don't have the ends of the G5RV up as high as the center point, so it's an inverted V. And it's kind of oriented northeast to southwest, depending on the flight. I'm using what's the word? It's a mast, but it's extendable mast. One of those jobs that you have to kind of screw nails into or put in pegs just to keep it from retracting in the bad weather. And so it picks up pretty well. You're coming in from 9. I had a little trouble with Joe. He was kind of fading in and out, but I'm blaming that on the sunrise and the gray area. K2SW, KC3RB.
Yeah, what's your power level, Rob? How much power you into the antenna?
Oh, thank you. I forgot about that. Running 100 watts right now, so I guess it's barefoot, but no amplification. The tuner is tuned, though.
Okay. Yeah, I would probably be. I'm not sure. Well, actually, I think Perry W3MMR might be actually closer to you than I am. I'm due east of you. I'm in southern New Jersey, northwest of Atlantic City. And you're putting in a good signal here. The audio is fine. Nothing wrong with the audio, plenty of it. I kind of doubt if some of the very northern stations are copying you all that well, but we'll find out later. But welcome to the AM carrier net, and propagation probably will improve as we go along here. Again, we lost some darkness in the morning with the change to standard time, so we'll be picking up 6 or 7 minutes every week now of increased darkness in the morning, which will help propagation. I'm running an ICO 720 and the outboard modulator and outboard VFO, driving an amplifier. Driving the amplifier now with only 5 watts, but it's still enough for legal limit output. And the antenna is also inverted V, strung off near the top of the tower, and listening on the 75A4. So that's the setup here. Joe on the stick shift, very good. I drive a 370Z with a 6-speed stick shift. In fact, well, my wife's cars are usually automatics, but I've never owned an automatic transmission car in my life. I've driven stick shifts and still am driving a stick shift. I don't know about my next car. It's getting more and more difficult to find cars with stick shifts in them. I'm sure Howie can speak to this issue as well, as he's the car guru on the AM of the AM carrier net. So best of luck to Bennett on learning how to drive the stick shift. I'm sure you can show him a couple of tricks as well. Gary on the SKCC, if you want to go off frequency on sideband after your transmission, I'd be happy to do that with you and discuss any topics you want to about the SKCC. So let me know on that. Wanted to say that we moved the vintage sideband net to Friday morning. In and around 3805. It went very, very well. It went very, very well last Friday. The time is 8:30 on Friday mornings now, and it eliminated all the problems that we were having with interference and bad propagation and static level from thunderstorms. So it's going to work out a lot better Friday mornings at 8:30. And Steve NQN sent me a picture of Dick Winslow, W2DAP. Apparently Steve was behind him on, I think it was the Long Island Expressway. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Steve. Anyway, Steve NQN got a great photo of the back of Dick's car and his license plate and emailed it to me. It was that was quite a great picture of Dick driving his Lexus. So that was kind of neat as well. Got the amplifier back up and running here. Had to replace the tube, which I had. I bought an extra tube when I bought the amplifier, and I think I was just driving it too hard for a couple of years on AM, and now hopefully this is a lot better for the amplifier. Seems to be really holding well, and the screen current looks good as well. So I think maybe this will be okay. And And let's see, weather, sunny here today. Joe, we had those storms down here as well, the winds and all that. Not going to hold it. I'm going to get it over to Howie. And we have quite a few people here on the net, so better get it going here. Over to you, Howie, WF2Q. This is K2 Fuzzy Wuzzy Joe. I will not be back for round 2. Pick it up, Howie.
W1EKG.
Yeah, okay. There was another station dropped a calling. This is WF2Q. Good morning to everybody on the AM carrier net. That Thursday night Halloween storm did a lot of damage. A big tree down the road just got split, and I lost a limb of a tree that supports one end of my dipole. Fortunately, it was not the limb that supports my dipole. It's down on the ground. Got a lot of it cut up with a chainsaw. It's about 15 inches in diameter, and I got to finish cutting it up today. As far as stick shift goes, yeah, I was all set in July to order a 2019 Audi to replace my 2016 Audi, and I typically order my cars in advance so I get what I want and don't get what I don't want. I don't like paying for nav in a car when the waves on my cell phone blows it away. Anyway, they politely told me that I was not going to order a 2019 stick shift Audi, and I had to go up to Connecticut, actually, to find one at the end of the year that still had stick shift. So, yeah, I love stick shift. I'll give you a couple of tips. First of all, if your son can learn to just drive an automatic car so that, he won't have to concentrate on that part of it. Take him out in a parking lot and just have him put the car in first and learn how to modulate the clutch and the throttle, get it rolling in first, put the clutch in, stop, and just do it again. And that's the hard part of stick shift. Once you're rolling, it's easy. And then later on, if you want to get fancy and teach them double clutch downshifting and all of that stuff, I remember when I was teaching my son to drive. My son is now 41. The two modern cars that I had, I was not going to let him near an old car. I had a Ferrari and a factory lightweight Porsche, and neither one of those cars are the cars to learn how to drive stick shift on. And it was not an easy experience. But in fact, when he got his first car, he got a Subaru station wagon. I said, where did I go wrong? But it was obviously a great car. And then when he got his next car, which was 10 years ago, he got a Honda Fit with stick shift, which he still has. So he finally saw the light with stick shift. It is going to get harder and harder and harder to find a stick shift car. Porsche's about the only one left in a luxury car market that still has some models available with stick shift. All the top-end cars are just double-clutch automatics now. Ferrari, Lamborghini, Maserati, McLaren, all of those supercars are take it or leave it, double clutch, automatic, and that's it. You want to drive a standard shift car. The way I fast forwarding, the only cars that are going to be left are old cars and absolute, the economy cars. Interestingly enough, a lot of the cars that we can't get here, like Audis with stick shift, are available in Europe, but you can't bring them in, so it doesn't matter. Anyway, enough of old buzziness, and I have to turn it over to, let's see, WA2RAS. Take it away, Jeff. WF2Q. I will not be back.
Okay. WF2Q and the AM carrier WA2 RAS. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Mostly very good signals. Very difficult to copy the Maryland guy, ROB, the rice box. Speaking of manual transmissions, I'd always been an automatic kind of guy until I got into traffic.
and the trucks, the Doosan Camp, the Jeeps did not have automatic transmission, so I had to learn on that. And a bigger problem this was in the Republic of Korea. They didn't have roads to speak of, at least where I was stationed. So that was another issue that made driving a little Halloween to everybody. Sorry I missed last week. I was at a ham fest and actually sold a couple of things, which is good. I didn't buy any radios. Really wasn't much for sale actually in the vintage net. On the vintage side, I did sell a DX20, which was in very nice condition, and two vintage microphones. So that was good. I came back with less than I started with. Joe, very good on the interesting about power failures. I have a friend in California who has a real issue with an even bigger issue with them shutting down powers to help stop the spread of the fires there. That we also had very high winds here, and it sounds like they really took out a big chunk of tree there. I also my problem was the tree hitting my mast, which bent the mast. But that was so we've really been having very high wind situations here on Long Island. This will be my only transmission. I will be listening out. Let me turn it over to Gary. K1 Ice Cream. Here it comes, Gary. WA2 RAS.
Can I grab it, Gary? I guess that's a yes. I just don't want to double with Gary. Let me make sure I've got it. Okay, this is N1VIV. I just want to acknowledge I got your Ross W1EKG there in Whitman, Mass. Steve, KB2NQN. You're going to send it to Ross W1EKG. I was warming my coffee, so I was a little out of position when you checked in. My apologies for that. So if you're there, Ross, still, we've got you in right after KB2NQN. So I think that's all the business I had to take care of. Thanks, Gary. Let's send it to you. K1IC. This is N1VIV.
No audio.
Okay, very good. N1VIV and the AM carrier net. Here is Kilo 1 India Charlie with a few adjustments. I'm sorry for the delay. When I'm in the middle of a new rig, and it is a single transmitter, a K7DYY. So I have to have a separate path for it, and it requires switching a coaxial switch and adjusting the power and also the modulator. Everything seems to be right. I'm running about 250 watts of carrier. I also have to mute the receiver as well, so everything seems to be working okay here right now. And this past week, I ordered some parts from DigiKey, and they came, I think, last week, actually, last Wednesday or Thursday, and so I put them in. So now I have an adjustment for the carrier level that's outside with a knob instead of a screwdriver, and did some other adjustments in it, and it seems to hold pretty well. It doesn't cut out anymore, and it's modulating quite well. So far so good. I'm going to enjoy using it on AM when I have a chance, and I also use the Anon, so there's some diversity here, and so far I can't complain about it. listen to reports as they come in. I see I don't have the hum this time around, which is also good. I think that has to do with the Anon somehow. I'm not sure what that is. Might be a grounding problem, ground loop or something of that nature. Weather here has been chilly. It's currently about 47 to 43, I think it is here. Let's see what it says. It says it's 45 now, so the temperature is climbing, but it was 31 yesterday morning. First time we've had some freezing. We're afraid maybe the raspberries are now about done for the season, although it is, after all, November 3rd. Had no trouble negotiating the change in time. It seems to work pretty well for me as well. It doesn't matter because I don't set the clock anyway. I usually wake up early enough to get up if I need to. And I didn't have to get up this morning, so I slept in a little bit, and it didn't make much difference since we had an extra hour. The school is moving on at a pace. We have about 5 weeks left, and then it'll be holiday time again, end of semester. Time to do radio projects in the shack, where I did some leaves yesterday out in the yard. I'm going to do some more today. I do a little bit at a time, not a whole lot. And hopefully I'm going to go up to Newtown and try a turkey shoot today. In the morning here, probably in another couple of hours, I'll drive up and see how that works, and so on and so forth. We have a house guest as well who has had a medical procedure done last week, and she is going to be here for 3 weeks, and she negotiates through the post-op period and the doctor's visits and whatnot before she heads back down to Florida where she lives. Used to live in town here. And things are going smoothly on the West Coast. Daughter's pregnancy is going well so far, and nothing untoward to report anywhere, and probably nothing terribly exciting as well. So I've been trying to make at least one CW contact a day on the SKCC situation, and so far it's going to take forever to climb up to any kind of status where I can get 100 contacts. I think I'm only at 17 now. But it's been a lot of fun, and my copying is getting better, which is also good. I was listening last night to a station that was probably doing about 22 words a minute. I was able to get most of it, but I get tired, and it gets to the point where you can almost listen and copy most of it, which is a real feat for me. So I get distracted too early and easily, but there you go. That's one of those things. Everybody's sounding very good this morning. Steve, good strong signal, as well as Joe. Howie was nice and strong. RAS, Jeff, you're weaker but still copyable. And GTH was very strong when he came in. Al is usually hugely strong, but he's not here this morning, so I can't tell. And Jim MER, you are very, very, very strong as well. I didn't get any numbers, but there you go. So I will not be in for a second round. I have some things I need to get done, but I will listen through to the end of the first round so I can hear what everybody's up to here in Fairfield. So with that, I'll pass it to WA2MER, located somewhere in Jersey. Here is K1IC.
W1VTP.
There's Al.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, Al. Good morning to you. Nice to hear you. Wake up being lazy today, I guess. Nice to hear you. Anyway, good morning, everybody. This is WA2MER. I got good signals on pretty much everyone here in Jersey. And I don't know, I think Rob may be gone by some chance. He's listening. Welcome to the nest. And you had a very fine signal here up to Vernon in northwestern Jersey. So nice to hear you. And I'm running my, not enough with the usual station I run here. I'm not really sure. I kind of switch between this and the Icon, but I'm running the Millen station with its modulator into the L7. And the HRO5TA1 is my receiver this morning. Very nice, quiet morning here. And a little chilly, of course, but it's a beautiful morning nonetheless. So, excuse me. I don't know what's terribly exciting to anybody, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a rundown before I pass it on to Bob. I have a transmitter project in the works now, thanks to you, Steve, K2FW. Had a very nice visit last week to pick up a transmitter RF deck and some components from him, and a lovely family you have there. Excuse me, Steve, and it's very, very nice too. So I made the trip down to South Jersey. So you might be interested to know that I had it fired up on Friday, not on the air, of course. When I fired it up, worked like a champ. And I just had it fired up in linear configuration, and I'm going to convert it to Class C, and build a modulator, which reminds me I'm going to need some mod iron. So that's not easy to find, but I'm going to be putting a want out on AM phone, something in the 350 to 400 watt range. So it'll be a hefty mod transformer, but that'll be a relatively small project. Got to build up a power supply and all that, but it'll be fun. It'll be a fun project that I'll finally get moving. Also, kind of sort of on the radio front, because it's got the word radio in it. I'll be hopefully installing my my modern radio into my '64 Buick sometime today. I bought a radio and they shipped me the wrong faceplate to put on it, so I called and they shipped me 2 more wrong faceplates. I finally called the manufacturer and they shipped me the right one. So I was like, "Do you want these other faceplates back?" I said, "No." Okay, so I don't know what cars they belong to, but if I ever get a car that those faceplates fit, I'll be ready. And fine business here. Joe, I'm teaching a friend stick shift. I wanted to teach all my kids, and only 2 of them took. And in fact, my car is a VW Jetta. Very basic car. It's a 5-speed, and I enjoy the 5-speed. And Howie, I'm sorry, listening to your comments lamenting about all the cars that you can't get stick shift anymore, like the Maseratis and the McLarens and all that. It's not high on my list of worries, if you know what I'm saying. So I'll stick with the little basic cars. And I remember trying to teach my daughter. I wanted to teach her stick shift on my 1990 Ford Ranger. I had this old beat-up pickup truck. She didn't want to get anywhere. She wanted no part of it. Didn't want to get anywhere near it. Wasn't interested. And then I bought my BMW that had a 5-speed in it. All of a sudden, she was interested in learning stick shift. And I said, "Sorry, your husband will teach you on his car." So you're not learning on my car. Excuse me. So that's the story. I'll be around. I'll be listening out. I'm going to hang in here. I don't know that I'm going to have anything more to say in the second round, but I'll be available until at least it gets back up to Joe. So with that, I'll turn it to Bob. W1 GTH to get it. This is WA2MER.
Real quick, Bob.
3 series with stick shift.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, Howie had a comment in there.
Yeah, I said you're not getting a stick shift BMW 3 series anymore in America. So it's filtered its way down. WF2Q said that.
That's really disappointing, Howie, to hear that. And I know the Audi TT used to come in a stick shift, and I believe they stopped the Audi TT stopped having stick shifts about 6-7 years ago, Howie?
Oh, back in 16 when they introduced the new one, I looked at one and you couldn't get a stick shift then.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
Yeah, it really is. Especially for a car like the Audi TT. Seriously? Why would anybody want to own that car without it being a stick shift? I could see, but I would never consider owning that car without a stick shift. I hope to be a stick shift. That's the way it is. Well, anyway. The way of it's the evolution, I guess. Let me just acknowledge real quick, thanks, Bob, for letting me pop in here real quick, that I heard Al in there. Good morning to you, Al, and I heard Rosie. Good morning, Rosie. W1. I'm having trouble with keeping a pen writing. I've got 3 pens rotating between them. W1. G. Oh, my God. VCP. I don't know what's going on with my brain today, Al. Good morning to you. Okay, Rosie, W1VTP. So, Ross, W1EKG. You'll send it to Al, W1VTP. There in New Hampshire. And so let's carry on. Quite a list here. We're getting up close to 18 or 20, I guess. I'm going to have to do another count. But over to you, Bob. W1GTH in the AM carrier net. Then 1VIV.
N1VIV and the AM carrier net, W1GTH, Bob in Walcott, Connecticut. And good morning, all. And yeah, we've got some. I've got some fast QSB here. That's the price we pay for turning the clocks back. I don't know why they even bother with that, but anyhow, that's a whole different topic. And yeah, hearing everybody fairly well this morning. I had a problem. It went from about 8:20 to 8:30. The second time I've noticed it, and the noise, it was just a buzzing noise, and it even took out Steve, which is almost impossible to do. And I hope that's not my new neighbors next door to me here. I got a few kids there, and hope that's not something that they're doing, because it could be a real problem. Thank goodness it only lasted for about 10 minutes or so, and then it stopped. So anyhow, I am on the ART-13, running about 100 watts, and hearing everybody good. And I want to thank K2FW Steve for explaining to me why it is that I'm hearing Gary W1ZB so much better. There were times where he's only about 35 miles away from me, and there were times years ago where I couldn't hear him at all. And so I think the answer is that he's just more power, and that's great. Gary, it's nice to be able to hear everybody. So Halloween was my birthday, and my daughter took me out yesterday, and me and my youngest son took me out for dinner, and we had a good time. Some of the restaurants were packed full, so we actually passed up a couple before we finally found one that could take us. When they tell you that it's a 25-minute wait, that can turn into 45 minutes, and so we decided to go someplace else, and it was a good choice. So anyhow, that's pretty much it for me. I'm just trying to think that anything else I wanted to say, but it was about 39 degrees when I got up this morning, but the car, this is a second or third day in a row that the car's been, I don't have a garage, the car's been covered with frost out there, so we're going to get it here pretty quick. Just hopefully, I'm surrounded by trees, oak trees and maples, and there's got to be 2 to 3 inches of nothing but leaves on the lawn now, and I've got to since that nor'easter we came through, and the following 40-mile-an-hour winds, I've got a lot of dead branches to pick up before I can run them over with the mower, and thank goodness I got a place to dump them in the back there. There's woods back of me, and if I had to bag them, I don't think they'd ever get done. So anyhow, that's it for me. I'm only in here for one round, and I'll be listening out. Everybody have a great day, and we'll try to catch you next weekend. And let me see. I'm going to turn it over to Pennsylvania station, W3MMR Perry. This is W1GTH.
W1GTH in the AM carrier net. This is W3MMR. Good morning to you. Let me see. Pull this up here. Jim, or excuse me, Bob. My apologies. Name here is Perry. Papa Echo Romeo Yankee, located in Chester, Pennsylvania, 7 miles southwest of Philadelphia, here in Delaware County. A little chilly here this morning, 44 degrees. It was 32 when I woke up this morning. Had frost on the windshield of the Suburban when we went to grab creamer at 4:30 this morning. Of course, I forgot to get creamer on my way home from work yesterday, so we had to run out first thing in the morning before I had any coffee in my veins. Don't You'll get a fresh thing of creamer from the local Wawa there. So everybody's sounding great down this way. Really good signals. I'll go. I got a quick signal reports for everyone here who has transmitted so far. Joe, N1V, you're 20 over S9. Rob, KC3RB, I don't think you're still in there, but you were 10 over S9 coming out of Maryland. And if you are still listening, I'm sorry to hear about your sister-in-law and the cancer situation. So best wishes to you and your family, and I'm sending my prayers to you guys, that's for sure. P12W, you were 30 over S9, Steve, so you're the channel master coming into my non-200D here this morning. WF2Q, you were 15 over S9. WA2RAS was 15 over S9. Gary K1IC was 20 over S9. And the K7DYY is sounding phenomenal, Gary. You got it right where you need it. So I'd lock it down. I'd lock it down where you got everything set now, because it really does sound good. WA2MER was 20 over S9, and Bob W1GTH was 20 over S9 as well. So some good signals coming into southeastern Pennsylvania this morning. We are just running the non-200D SDR this morning, the DX100. This is going to be my one and done, so I didn't want to fire up the boat anchor rig and the DX100 and C303 just to make one transmission, because we got to get outside and do some antenna work this morning. Hopefully try to make this 125-foot doublet, 600 ohm ladder line fed doublet I'm using. I'm going to put on some ground radials and hook the antenna up as a long wire, kind of like a T antenna, and hopefully make my station 160 meters capable, because I don't get home until 6 o'clock in the evening from work, and I do a lot of my operating in the evenings. So here on 75, so the band's going to be long by the time I get home. So I don't want to miss out on evening operating. So I want to get 160 meters, 160 meter capable here at the QTH, and running an AL80B amplifier. Like I said, into the doublet, it's up about 60 feet. And real quick about the BMWs, Howie was talking about the BMW. Yes, in the 2019 BMW 3 Series, forget about manual transmissions anymore. They're not offering them here in the United States. Reason being, the engineers from BMW, they are kind of dumbfounded why anyone would want manual transmission, because they say the performance of the new 8-speed transmissions far exceed the performance of any manual transmission in the past, and the acceleration is much better in these new the automatic transmissions. They come with launch control, and they come with a sport mode, so you can sport shift them. So basically, it's like a manual transmission without a clutch. You know, you can choose when to shift, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, through eighth, obviously. So, in my opinion, I've been an automotive technician, master tech for 18 years, and in my opinion, I would rather have the automatic transmission than something like that. I used to own all vehicles with manual transmissions until probably about 5 years ago. I had a Toyota Tacoma was my last truck with a 5-speed, and then I bought my Suburban, which has an automatic, and I've never looked back. Driving in the city, commuting in bumper-to-bumper traffic every day, driving a manual transmission gets a little exhausting. My left leg seemed to be about twice the size of my right leg from pressing the clutch all the time, in bumper-to-bumper traffic every day. So I just got tired of it and went to the automatic, and I'm happy with it. But the each their own. I know a lot of people who swear by standard transmissions. They love them. My father has a standard transmission in a Subaru WRX. else. He loves it, and his newer, I think it's a 2017. And but folks love the standard transmissions, so to each their own. But anyway, like I said, this will be my one and done. I appreciate you guys putting on the net here this morning. Joe, you do a great job, and Al, good morning to you, W1VTP. You guys do a great job here with the net, Steve and everybody else. 7-3, you guys have a great weekend. Stay warm, and we'll catch you again next Sunday morning. And I turn it over to KE1MI, Greg, up in Vermont. So up to you, Greg. KE1MI in the AM carrier net. This is W3MMR.
Yeah, okay, Perry. W3MMR from KE1MI. Hang on a second here. I have the online receiver on K3FES just to hear what I sound like there. Yeah, that's better. Anyway, good morning, everybody. It was 38 degrees last I looked. And beautiful sunshiny day here. Our company finally left. That's why I haven't been around much. We had some friend of ours was here for a week, and he's in the room here in the radio room. Obviously, it was where he was staying because that is what I have, and just a 2-bedroom house here. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Again, let's see. I run down here, running the Icon 4300 this morning, driving the amplifier. Seem to have plenty of audio here, according to the modulation monitor. I actually see peaks up to around 150. I don't know if that's true or not, but and positive the symmetry, because I've been playing with the audio settings on this thing and seeing how they work. Into a 160 meter doublet there, you're very similar. I get a 600 ohm twin lead doublet here, ladder line doublet, yeah, but it's full length for 162. That's actually 240 feet long. And I run that. I'm going to start doing more on 162 because it is going to get darker, and it'll be more fun on 160 in the evening there when 80 goes to crap there. So there you go. And you know, it sounds good here in Vermont this morning, and yeah, those are great for the audio. That's the only problem with the 7300. You can only do so much with the audio here. Get some processing to it, but not, you know, it doesn't have a compressor. It doesn't let you run the compressor in the AM mode, which is good, because then it wouldn't sound like Billy Big Rigger there on the old Good Buddy band. So, let's see, yeah, got a lot to do today. I'm trying to get some of the stuff done because I work till 4 o'clock, and by the time I get home, it'll be dark. You know, it's 4:45, 5 o'clock. And I can't do my outside stuff, so probably today be one of the hoorahs. They're looking at some snow later in the week here, which we really don't need, but we're going to get it. And I don't know, a couple inches maybe as it looks right now. What else was I going to comment on? Oh, a standard shift rig. Oh boy, I don't know as to whether I'd bother with one anymore. I know how to drive a standard, but it's just not worth it. Even living here in the sticks, and I don't have any traffic. I go to work at I leave here about 5:15, and I'm at the office at 6. And the only thing I got to worry about is moose and deer. I don't monkey around with. There's never any traffic. This is Vermont. We don't have traffic unless you get over to Burlington. So and then we have some. But other than that, it's just, there's not enough here to get upset about. So I'm not on and off the clutch anymore. But yeah, first box is the way to go. Unless you're into a sports car. You know, if you're driving a Maserati or a Beamer or something like that, yeah, I can see the standard because that's just the allure of those cars. But you're driving the old family truckster around, or the Subaru, like a lot of people up here have Subarus. Airbags, a popular car in Vermont. That's the way to go there. Let's see, I guess that's all I have. I'm going to do one and done today, Joe. Like I said, the sun's up. It's above freezing. I'm going to get dressed and get outside, and I got several things I need to get done. Darkness comes early, as everybody knows, now that we're back an hour. Have a great day, everybody, and enjoy being here. Thanks for running it, Joe. Good to be in here again this morning. I'll listen out through the first round. I think Bill's the tail gunner there. There might be another one afterwards, but anyway, I will send it down to the quiet corner of Connecticut. KD1SH. from KE1MI. Have a good day, everybody. See you later.
Okay, Greg, very good. Good morning to you. Good morning to everyone on the AM carrier net from KD1SH down here in the quiet corner of the state of Connecticut where the sun is shining and the leaves are piling up in my backyard, in my front yard, and then the side yard and every other yard. And because I've been all wrapped up handling my mother's estate, I just have not had time to get out there and deal with that kind of stuff, as well as having my septic tank pumped out, which I do every year faithfully, and I just did not have a chance to do that. My septic tank is a bit of a chore to dig up because unlike the modern systems that just have a couple of small square caps, this is two great big full-size well tile covered side by side, and I have to dig down about 2 feet to get to them and excavate all the dirt around them to get them out, and it's probably a good ton of dirt once I get it all dug out of there, and I just have not had time to do that yet, and obviously the time limit here impending is the freezing of the ground, so I got to get busy with that, but the estate thing is taking up most of my time. Yesterday, my brother-in-law were over, my brother and myself were over there yesterday with a big 30-yard dumpster, clearing out a bunch of old furniture and carpeting and all that kind of stuff, and woke up this morning with kind of a hoarse throat because of all the dust we kicked up. It's kind of a consequence of that, I guess. And speaking of getting up in the morning, I feel like a turkey here because I don't like to set an alarm clock on a weekend, but I do have a little watch with an alarm in it, a little vibrating alarm. You know, it just vibrates on your wrist, and it's kind of a gentler way to wake up on a weekend. So that thing woke me up this morning at 7:30, as usual on a weekend, and I came in here and turned the rigs on, let everything warm up and stabilize, and came back in here around 7:45. And I was getting a little annoyed because the sideband was just banging in here, and I'm listening for some AM carriers to make an appearance. People tuning up and heard nothing, and got to around 5:08, and still all sideband and no AM carriers, and then obviously I'm sure everybody realizes where this is going. I realized that I had not set my watch for the new time, and it was actually 6:55 rather than 7:55, and there we go. So I cheated myself out of my extra hour of sleep that I had coming to me. So, oh well, it would not be the first time I've done that, and it will probably not be the last time. So, and I got tons of radio projects going on over here, and again, the estate business is pretty much absorbing all of my time. I've got my B&W 5100 that I bought up at Nearfest that's sitting down there on the workbench waiting for its turn. I've got a bunch of new old stock tubes to put in it. I've got a bunch of new electrolytics and film capacitors from DigiKey that just came in the other day, and I just don't have time to get to it with all the other stuff going on. So looking forward to getting that 5100B on the air. And thinking back on it now, Jerry, K1GUP, the nice gentleman that I bought the 5100B from, also had the sideband adapter for the 5100B there. And I was debating whether to buy it or not. I buy radios like that for AM really and not for sideband. But, thinking on it now, if I had bought that sideband adapter to go with it, then I could join in on the vintage sideband net. So, oh well, you know what they say about afterthoughts. So, but, maybe Jerry will have that sideband adapter up there at Nearfest in the spring, and maybe I'll buy it at that point. But I am kind of regretting it. Every Nearfest, Boxborough, whatever Hamfest, always carries with it a fair share of regrets when I get back home. Should have bought this. Should have bought that. And wish I hadn't passed on this. But looking at it on the good side, I very rarely have buyer's remorse. Oh, I shouldn't have bought this. It's usually I should have bought that, wish I did. Not so much wish I hadn't bought this. So I guess I can't complain. But anyway, that's about it for me this morning. Rob, KC3 ROB, was sounding good up here. The audio wasn't bad. A little far out, for me up here in the Northeast, and a lot of QSB, and sometimes copy was a little shaky, but for the most part it wasn't too bad. So, and welcome to the group, Rob, KC3 ROB. And anyway, that's it for me right now. Depending on how many people stick around for round 2, I may be here. I got to get back over to the old homestead and start the whole chore all over again of throwing away old junk. So I can't stick around too long, but I'll hang in here for a bit and see what happens for round 2. So anyway, over to Jerry, W1ZB. Good morning from KD1SH.
Yeah, very good, Bill. KD1SH, this is W1ZB. Okay, well, good morning, everyone. Did not forget to change the clock here, so so we did make it on time. And we gain an hour of sleep, but we lose an hour of propagation. So anyway, we're on the homebrew rig this morning with about 300 watts of carrier and listening on an SX17. And I was able to copy the further out stations in Maryland and Pennsylvania, about an S5 to an S7 here. Anyway, the nor'easter this past week, very windy, took down about half the leaves on the trees here, and but we didn't have any other damage. We had 2 sort of nor'easters come through a couple of weeks earlier, and they're the ones that did the damage. So I guess anything standing is pretty hardy. Antenna projects. Well, I'm going to start to work on a 160 meter inverted L. My 160 meter long wire antenna got clobbered in, I think, the first nor'easter we had a few weeks ago. So I have the setup for the tuner all set, and the L portion, I just have to throw some radials down and see how that plays. Coming up next weekend is the AWA Bruce Kelly 1929 transmitter event, which is a lot of fun. It's a CW event, and we had been working on our transmitter in August and September, getting it all set, so have used it on the air, and should be easy to set up this week and try it out again and make a few contacts with it. As far as stick shifts go, I was the first car I learned to drive was a 57 Chevy, stick on the column. And I think up until about the 80s, when I purchased the car, they had stick shifts in them. So I think it wasn't until the 90s and until now that I migrated over to an automatic. I guess like a lot of things do change with time. And I guess depending on the type of driving you do, the automatics are pretty good. So I'm going to be one and done. I will listen out to the rest of the round. We'll say 73s to every one, and I will pass it down to Jim. W2 TPS to pick it up. This is W1ZB 73.
Just going to grab it, Jerry, real quick. Yeah, I think we had it going to Mark, KB1 PLC. KB1 PLC, and then to Jim, WB2 TPS. At least that's what I have on my list. So let's see if Mark is still there. KB1 PLC, this is N1 VIV. I can hear you. I'm not sure if Jim was hearing you, so let's see if he's there. WB2 TPS. If you're there, Jim, go ahead and take it. This is N1 VIV. I apologize. I'm a bit off frequency, guys. There we go. That's better. My apologies for that. Let's see if Jim's there. I had a feeling the warm-up was going to be substantial, but as long as it's been since I made a transmission. So let's see, WB2TPS. WB2TPS. This is N1VIV in the AM carrier net.
Way off frequency now.
No, maybe there's something, is that 34 dot something? Is that what you're showing out?
3831.5.
Wow. Something's not right there. My apologies. That's probably better. But I'm not hearing Jim. Either way, that's probably... Yeah, that's showing 37. Boy, something's not right here. Don't know what to attribute that to. But in any case, that looks closer than I was. I'm not sure if Jim's still with us, but we'll give one more listen just in case. WB2TPS. This is N1VIV. All right, well, maybe it's just Jim had obligations, and it's been a very long first round of the net. So, Jim, if you're listening, we look forward to hearing you again soon, and don't hesitate. Let me know if you need me to put you to the top so that we can get you in and out of here if that's more convenient for you. Let's see if Steve's there. KB2NQN, this is N1VIV.
Yes, I am. This is KB2NQN with the AM carrier net. Good morning all around. I'll keep it short because there's lots of QSB. Was hearing everybody much better earlier, but stations are starting to die out now. We did suffer some damage during the Halloween windstorm. A large branch hit my K4KAO X-beam and stopped some spreaders on it. So I took it down yesterday. I'm going to issue some repairs today. I think I can patch it back together. But I'm not sure if the rotor also took a hit because it doesn't seem to be moving any longer. So I don't know if the brake is jammed or whatever. I have a spare, so we're hoping that we get all that together. Again, I've had that up since Hurricane Sandy, the X-beam, and this is the first damage that I've had, so it's been a good run. Good run. Yes, very funny with seeing W2DAP on the road. I snapped that picture and I shot it to Steve. There was some amusement there. He was in a rush to an ortho appointment, so he couldn't stop, but I got a hand wave and also shipped him the picture and got an email from him. He says hello to everybody. Again, it's Dick W2DAP, still alive and kicking and driving his Lexus. What else do I have? Running a Flex 5000 for those that need to know. Flex 5000 this morning, but with the temperature dropping, I'm going to start putting on the vacuum tube stuff to warm up the shack here, which would be the Blatset T76. There's also a football game for those of you who are interested at 9:30 from London. The Texans versus the Jaguars. So if you're not making round two, which I am not, turn on the TV. You also got the New York City Marathon happening right as we speak. 7-3 all around. Good to hear everybody. And I'm over to Ross, W1EKG in Whitman, Mass. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. And don't have a whole lot to add other than the stick shift automobile. I learned to drive on a standard shift pickup truck. We had fire roads out behind our house, and I used to take my dad's Ford F-100 out and drive around the woods at age 12, by the way, and learned how to do the clutch and all that. And most of my cars that I've had throughout the years have been stick shift. I'm currently driving a 2001 Volkswagen Passat with an automatic in it, and I hate the automatic. And but I love the car. The car is fantastic. It's absolutely perfect for what I do. And it's got 269,000 miles on it. I think it's about time to maybe retire it. And ran into a dealer about 5 miles from here, an Audi A4 Quattro station wagon, virtually the same car that I have, but four-wheel drive, with a 6-speed manual. And I'm very, very, very tempted to go acquire that and drive it. I took it out for a test drive and absolutely loved it. But the XYL has other opinions about that. So, other than that, no damage here in the storm, other than some branches came down. My Passat did get a little dent in the back of a branch, and I'm going to go out and do some chainsaw cleaning up today. And we have a very, very loud intermittent noise, a buzz that seems to be right here in the neighborhood. And I've contacted National Grid about checking it out, and they've actually responded to me, and I'm supposed to call an 800 number tomorrow and firm up the details. But it's on for about 2 minutes and off for a minute, and then on for 2 minutes and off for a minute. And I'm going to go sniffing around with my Grundig Satellite 700 today and see if I can get closer to where it is. But it's taking out some of the signals here, and it wipes out most of the AM broadcast band, so it's very strong. And it's not in my house. I shut the main breaker off, and it's not coming from here, somebody else. So we'll have to go chasing that down. Got a lot of yard work to do today. I need to put a coolant flange in the Volkswagen, and among other things. So we'll be quite busy. This will be my in and out also on the AM carrier net. Great to hear all of you, the ones that I can hear. 73 and I think it goes over to Arrow, WNVTP, and Rosie from here, if I'm not mistaken. This is WNEKG 73.
Yeah, that's correct, Russ. Yeah, it goes over to Al. Good morning to you, Al, and to Rosie. I heard her in there on the check-in. How are you this morning?
Good morning. She hadn't been fed, so she raises holy you-know-what until she gets her groceries in the morning, so she was cussing me out. She's such a sweet kitty, though, even when she's doing her cussing. The meow is so delicate, and it's not an angry meow. She's just telling me that she needs to be fed. And she's been very clingy lately, up in my lap, literally in my lap, frequently. And I don't know if it's because she's looking for body heat, and that's probably it. Anyway, there's a lot of comments here, and I don't want to take up too much time, but no, I'm a fan of the automatic transmission. I've owned 2 Fords. I happen to think that the Fords have a superior transmission. That's my opinion. I think I have a right to it. And the first one was a Ford F-150, 1978. I had been doing a lot of bumper-to-bumper stop-and-go driving. And when it came time for me to part ways with my 1967 Chevrolet that had ran 260,000, and it was still runnable, I sold it for a princely sum of half what I paid for it brand new. And the guy was just set on getting that year truck, and it is a handsome truck, 1967 Chevrolet half-ton. It's a handsome machine. But anyway, I ordered just about every luxury item I could think of on the Ford F-150 because most of my, a significant amount of my life is spent in the cab, and I figured I should have all of the comforts that technology could afford. So that's one of the things I got. I got that and air conditioning and AM and FM radio and special seat and all that sort of thing. So I had learned on a 1938 Ford half-ton, and that was 3 on the floor, and mechanical. I think they had mechanical brakes back in those days. But anyway, that's what I learned on. So anyway, on the F-150, I finally stopped running it. I just parked it and said, "That's it, old girl. We'll find you a thing." Actually, I didn't consider it a girl, but it was still running great, and it was starting to leak, and a little bit of going back when you first started it up, but SDP took care of that. But it was 350,000 miles, and it was running very well. And yeah, Katie, when I say it, you really need to get that sideband adapter. That's too bad that you didn't get it at the time, but perhaps you didn't have the money. But if you have a chance, I would definitely get it. On that Jerry ZB and that so-called nor'easter, as they call it, they still don't know how they come up with that term. But anyway, a friend of mine, John W1CBO, narrowly missed a tremendous amount of damage to his house when a very large oak tree that was next to his house fell, and it missed the house by just feet, just a few feet. And looking at the root system that was exposed, it looked like the roots were pretty well rotted. Well, it was just an accident waiting to happen. So anyway, if you love that car, get it, by all means. I mean, especially if you've got an old machine, and if you're doing the most of the driving, I would definitely get it. I take it your wife is set against it because it has a manual transmission. But you need to love your car. If you spend very much time in it, I consider that spent either quality time or not. And so the Crown Vic that I currently own, I love it to pieces. It saved my life once because it has superior handling capabilities at high speed. So I owe a debt to my Crown Vic, and I'm probably sorry to have to part with it if I live that long. So that's the end of my transmission. I'm getting into Pennsylvania at only S9, so I think the daytime conditions are changing over. Back to net control, W1 the VTP.
Yeah, okay, very good. W1 VTP, this is N1 VIV. Well, I can tell from a printer on the UKVFO that I'm pretty close to being on frequency, but I don't know what's going on with this frequency counter. I'm going to have to do some troubleshooting with that, because it makes no sense. But let's give a listen and see, just in case, if there's any additional check-ins. But boy, what a turnout today. You can do a quick check here. 17 check-ins. Let's see if there's anybody else wishing to check in. Any other stations wishing to check into the AM carrier net, please call now. This is N1VIV. Well, nothing heard there. So I know we had just a handful of people who said that they might stay. But boy, what a great turnout for the net. Great on all the comments related to manual and automatic transmissions and things of that nature. And we're going to continue with the clutch tutorial today with my younger son, Hampton, and carry on with all those efforts. Very good. I didn't know they were playing a football game in London this morning, so that might be something worth just for the novelty of it, taking a look at. I wonder how folks, I'm not sure exactly where they're playing that game, but so folks over there might enjoy the novelty of the NFL as well there in the UK. Very interesting. And we'll have to see what the rest of the day brings. There's a late Patriots game on today. I think it's on Sunday Night Football, if I'm not mistaken. So it'll be a little later this evening watching the end of that. It's supposed to be probably one of their more competitive games so far. So to be continued. So as I'm looking at my list, I've just a handful of people with question marks and many people with check marks next to them, and the conditions are starting to fade because of the shift in time and the having an hour and a half almost here elapsed since we started. So let's see if Gary's still there, because I had a question mark next to him, because most everybody else was checked out. So K1IC, if you're there, Gary, go ahead and make one for round 2. This is N1VIV. All right, nothing heard there from Gary, so I think Bill said he may stay. So let's try Bill up there in northeast Connecticut. CD1SH, this is N1VIV.
Okay, Joe, very good. Yes, indeed, I am still here. Just kind of relaxing. Maybe putting off a little bit the heading over to the old homestead to kick up more dust. But if we keep that dumpster over there for any longer than 10 days, we're going to pay a charge for every day thereafter. So my brother and I want to make best use of that. So KD1SH down here in the quiet corner. No storm damage over here to speak of, at least on my property. But heading to work in the morning was a bit of an obstacle course, going around clumps of this and branches here and all that. And we did wind up getting detoured twice on the way to work. There was some major limbs apparently across the road in a few areas, because one of the major routes was still closed when we headed home from work in the afternoon. So it must have been something sizable across the road. On the good side, we didn't get any trick-or-treaters here because of the howling wind and the rain and all that, and that means I get to keep all the Halloween candy for myself. So having a sweet tooth, that's a good thing. That's a fringe benefit right there. Al, I can only plead temporary insanity there for not buying that sideband adapter. Jerry was asking a good price for it. It was very fair, and I had the money, and a friend of mine was working hard to get me to buy it, and I don't know what I was thinking. I think maybe I was afraid I would never use it, but it just adds to the value of the whole set, to have that with it, and I should have bought it, but here we are. So, but if Jerry brings it back in the spring, then I will be there. Oh, and Al, we were talking about cameras last week, and I had a little time to go through some of the gear that I brought home from my mom's house, and I was in error. The camera that I brought home was not an A1; it was an AE1, an AE1 program actually. I know she did have an A1 at one point, and she must have passed it along to some other family member or something a number of years ago, because it's no longer present. So in addition to the F1 that my mom and my wife sneakily arranged to give me for a Christmas present a number of years ago, I now have the AE1 program. And as far as lenses, there were 5 lenses there. Only 2 of them are actual Canon FD lenses. The others, there's a Vivitar 28 millimeter and a Vivitar 135 millimeter. Now, I was never all that against Vivitar. Vivitar made some halfway decent stuff. Not as good as the Canon FD, but and one of them is a Curon. I don't know much about Curon, but it's a 28 to 70 macro zoom. But the two actual Canon FD lenses that were there's a 100 millimeter FD macro, and that's an f4, and there's another FD 70 to 210 macro zoom f4, and of course the standard 50 millimeter f1.8 that Canon offered as their standard lens on pretty much everything in that time period. I never owned the Canon FD 50 millimeter 1.4. They were a little pricier at the time. I remember when I bought my TX, and they offered me a 1.4 instead of the 1.8, and at the time the budget was a little tight, so I didn't go with it. But I always liked them. Never owned any of the L series lenses or or the FLs that I think preceded the FDs. But anyway, that's what I've got. And I've got another large telephoto somewhere, and I'm not sure exactly where I put that, but I don't believe that is a Canon either. I think that might just be a Vivitar. But anyway, that was what turned up in the box of stuff. And the AE1 program is really pretty grungy looking. I'm sure it's in fine working shape, but my parents were smokers in that house for 70 years or so, and pretty much everything that was in there for any great period of time is all covered with that yellow goo. So that's going to require some cleaning. I may even consider sending it off to a professional cleaner to have them go through the insides too and clean all that out. The F1 though is very clean. Anyway, that's it for me, and I've got to get dressed and head over to the old homestead and start firing stuff into the dumpster again. So I'm going to sit back and listen out here for a few minutes, and then I'm going to be off to dumpster land again. So 7-3, and good morning to everyone on the AM carrier net, and back over to Joe, N1VIV, KD1SH.
Yeah, very good, Bill. Well, KD1SH, this is N1VIV. Well, conditions are really starting to wane a little bit, but I was able to hear you 100%, so no trouble there, Bill. And good luck with all the managing of details there. I hope that goes as smooth as it can, because I know that's a lot to take on all at once, so no question about that. But very nice to hear you in here this morning, and take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Well, let's see. I didn't make a note on Jerry. I don't know that he was staying, but let's give a listen just in case. W1ZB, this is N1VIV. Okay, then let's see if Mark might still be there. KB1PLC, this is N1VIV. Okay, Mark, no trouble. Nice to hear you in here, and you have a great rest of your Sunday. We didn't really hear from Jim WB2TPS. I'm just going to do a check just in case Jim may have gotten back to the switch. WB2TPS, this is N1VIV. All right, nothing heard there, and I know Steve, KB2NQN, said he was signing, so if you're still listening, Steve, 73. Let's see, I didn't make a note on Ross, so I'm not 100% sure, but let's see, W1EKG, if you're still there, Ross, for round 2. This is N1VIV. All right, well, it is getting later. So we've got you there, Al, and I think you might be the last one in line here unless anybody else joins in. So I'll certainly be here. I can do one go-round, and then I should probably shift gears, get another cup of coffee, and get busy, because there's a lot to get busy on. But I'm good for a few minutes. Glad you got in here, and I guess I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with my frequency counter, because it doesn't make any sense to me. But I'll have to take a look here maybe for a few minutes after we wrap up to see what the story is. Maybe I can just ask you, Al. Let me get it good. So my frequency counter now, maybe it's because I didn't have the thing, acquiring a strong signal. Yeah, see, it's not, when you're showing a strong signal, I've got maybe it's something with the battery. Anyway, I'll come back, Al, after you make a transmission and fiddle with this a little bit, see if I can make more sense of it. Back to you, Al. W1VTP. This is N1VIV.
And 1ALF.
There's N1ALF. You got him down, Joe?
Yeah, you'd make 19, Rob. 19 check-ins. N1ALF. So I'll let Al, whatever your prerogative is, Al, if you want to flip it to Rob, that's great. If you want to make a transmission and then send it to Rob, whatever you choose. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, okay, I want to make some remarks to Bill in case he's leaving here imminently. But your frequency on your last transmission was 135.134. Actually, it was drifting down to 120.120. And the counter is not a really good way to measure frequency unless you've got a coupled connection to it. In other words, some people I know wind a wire around the coax and run that into, or have an antenna sticking up, and that can lend to some moments of pure insanity in the part of the counter. But a direct connection is best. And there's ways. I have an Excel spreadsheet that can be used to design a T network attenuator, not a pi. It's overkill, but a T network attenuator that you can use to precisely calculate your not attenuation you want in your attenuator. Bill, yeah, I own both the 1.4 and 1.2 prime lens, and they're great lens. Right, you know something? I still like my zoom because I find I went out yesterday on a shoot with the Canon A1, and I discovered that I was doing a lot of walking toward and away from the subject in order to get it composed properly. Whereas with the zoom, you just adjust a ring on the zoom lens, and there you go. And the FT series, they have some really good zoom lens, and so there you go. I'm missing a whole camera system. I don't know where it is. I have a third Canon T90 functional, and I have a Tamron zoom telephoto to macro, which is a really handy lens, and a 17 millimeter wide angle, and a 50 millimeter macro with a Kelly converter. I don't know where that is. But I'm missing a whole, I'll call it a box, for lack of a better term, a Canon system. Yeah, I have no idea. Also missing that Pentax K1000, that it's not functional, but it has a Tamron zoom lens for a Pentax K1000, which I have. The second one is up here right on the shelf in front of me, and that has a 1.4 lens. But the zoom lens is really a nice thing, and it has the macro feature, which is really nice because it can sometimes get right in on something and get it just right. It's just the ultimate in composing a picture. So anyway, that's the deal. I don't know what I'm going to do after this. I want to go out on a third shoot and take my T90. I found that with my new eyes, the cataract, post-cataract eyes, finding that the A1 viewfinder is a bear to use, and I'm very disappointed in that. So I want to go out with a T90, and one of my three T90s. One failed on me for some reason or other, but the run is working. Go out and do it. What I'm doing is I'm going through Manchester, and the trees in Manchester, because of the concrete heating effect, the trees are still very colorful. And the problem, of course, is being a city, you take pictures of individual trees, not vistas. So I'm going to go out and do some more shooting. There is an outfit called thedarkroom.com that does a nice job of developing pictures and scanning them on a drum scanner and putting them on a CD, as well as for 30 days putting them up on the web. So you can get more or less instant gratification. So I just sent 2 more films out for them to develop. I hardly endorse them as a good professional grade developer. So that's all I have. So back to net control, I guess. W1 of VTP, Manchester Natural.
Yeah, very good, Al. W1 VTP. I guess I'll just leave a little space here in case Bill wanted to make any final comments on your comments. If you're still there, Bill, go ahead. KD1S8.
Okay, very good. I'm going to be on the way out here in just a couple of minutes. Al, I've got a little frequency counter that I picked up a while back. I've got plenty of frequency counters down on the bench, but I don't usually use one up here. What I do is I'm running my ICOM 756 Pro 2 here with the band scope going, and I use that as kind of a station monitor. And with the audio turned up just enough so I can hear myself a little bit, and on occasion if I get close to the rig to adjust something, you may hear a little feedback there because of that. But of course the band scope isn't giving me a very good resolution, so I'm close. But one of these days I'm going to have to get that little I picked up a little Simpson frequency counter down at Sussex, and the plan was to put that in line with the rig here, and that way I can keep track of whatever drift the Ranger has. And the Ranger, of course, does drift a little bit. It's amazingly stable, though, compared to some old rigs that I've had. The Ranger is impressively stable, but yeah, it does tend to drift a little bit, especially if I make old buzzard key downs, which I'm prone to do. So anyway, not a whole lot more going on here. Al, until you mentioned the 1.2, the 1.2 Canon lens, I'd forgotten they even made one. I remember the 1.8, which is pretty much standard with any camera that you bought during that time period, and then the 1.4 was icing on the cake if you wanted to go that route. And I had forgotten that they even made one as fast as 1.2. That's a nice little lens. Yeah, that's one thing nice about the modern digital cameras, of course, is that they pretty much all have some kind of zoom functionality, and keeps you from having to walk back and forth and all that. But I remember reading somewhere that the famous photographer Ansel Adams, he was apparently not a big fan of telephoto lenses, and he always said, well, if you want to arrange your shot, for field of view, get closer or back up, and that's it. He was a kind of a stick-up like that, I guess. But I'm going to have to. I have not done any 35 millimeter film photography for a long time. I've pretty much gone all digital. And actually, the digital camera that I use here is not even a digital SLR. I've got a Canon G11. Basically a point and shoot, but kind of a top of the line point and shoot for Canon. But very, very fond of that camera. And by the way, I was just thinking earlier today that until my mom and my wife gave me that F1 for Christmas, my regular 35 millimeter camera was a Ricoh KR5, I think it was, and my wife gave that to me for Christmas a number of years back. Very simple little match needle camera, kind of like the old TX master shutters. But really honestly, I did not care for the image quality that I got from that lens that came with that Ricoh. It was a 50 millimeter 1.8, similar to the standard Canon, but when I started comparing it to photographs that I took through the Canon FD lens, you could really, really see the difference. Ricoh just didn't quite equal up to Canon when it came to optical quality. Canon was much better. So anyway, that is it for me today. I'm going to have to go get dressed and head over to the old homestead and get all covered with dirt and dust again. And that's it for me. So 7-3, and good morning to everyone on the AM Carrier Net again. And enjoy the rest of the wonderful Sunday afternoon. 81SH.
Yeah, okay, Bill. Very good. Well, very good on all. I'm sure Al appreciated your follow-up comments there. And very good on the different aspects of photography. While I'm making this final transmission, let's see if I can. Yeah, I think that's exactly what's in the mix here, Al. I'm not getting a direct connection with the company to get the job done better, because something's not suitable with what I'm getting now, because I had moments where I was getting a good signal level display, and then other times not. So that must be it. I have to mess around with it later, but I have to run because I've got to get to some other stuff here. So I'll listen to your comments, Al, and then I'm going to jump right up here. So have a great rest of your Sunday. Best wishes to Rosie there and everybody else, and I look forward to talking up with you sometime soon, but hopefully next weekend. 7-3 for now. This is N1 VIV. I'll be listening out.
Yeah, okay, Joe. And if you want, I can send you that spreadsheet, and you can design your own attenuator, fixed attenuator. And all it needs is a 50-ohm load to complete. And you can build that. You just get a small project box, and put connectors in it that you like. And the math is all there and everything, including the wattage of the resistors you need, et cetera, et cetera. You just input a couple of yellow fields that, how much attenuation you need. And like I say, it's pretty simple to use. It shows a schematic of what you're going to build and that sort of thing. So that's up to you if that's what you want to do. You just take a UHF-T connector, and you use that to connect out to the little project box, and then that goes right directly into the input of your counter. But you do have to figure out what you want. For generally speaking, I would say 20 dB would be enough. That takes 100 watts down to 100 milliwatts. So you can do that, or go to 40 dB, and that gives you 10 milliwatts. And you got to figure that. Got to do a little bit of thinking about what you want. But direct connection, that's the way to go. Otherwise, you're at the mercy of where you are and where everything else is, and where the controller is, and so on and so forth. So, anyway, 7-3 guys. So catch you later. W1VTP.
And one quick bandwidth there, Al. As I'm thinking about it, I in my shack upstairs, which I'm going to be moving down here into the basement sometime in the next few weeks or a month, I think. I have the original WA12IF modulation monitor, and so I think what you're describing is probably not unlike the detector that, and I think I actually built a couple of additional ones for different power levels. So, do you think there must be an attenuator in there, I would think. And it is built it does have a T, that goes to the little box. So I have one that I bought from Steve, and one or two I built myself for different power levels. Does that might do the trick, I wonder.
I wouldn't mess with the boxes themselves, but you might just go out and get yourself a fresh one. And he uses capacitive division, which I don't happen to agree with. Obviously, they work very well, so I believe in resistive division and using film resistors as opposed to composition resistors. So there's a difference in the way I do it and the way Steve does it. So anyway, but you definitely don't take one of his sensors apart to use. Just go out and any one of the suppliers, and you can probably get a small bud box and connect it up and go for it. Over.
I've got stuff laying around, so that would, gosh, the junk box is unbelievable. It's just accumulation over 20 years or whatever. That depends on a mess of dump, right? There's a big electronics bin that people just throw stuff into. So lots of times you'll see old computer network switching boxes and stuff, and I just grab anything like that because I know someday I'm going to need a circuit for this or that, and it really comes in handy if you need to set up a relay inside something, those kinds of things. And so, yeah, I've got plenty of that stuff on. Yeah, if you could send that along, I don't know exactly when I'd get to it, but it might be maybe worth considering for sure. And I've got a strong signal reading on the meter right now. I don't know exactly why that is. I think I see why. And I'm reading 3835.13. So that's and I changed the gate setting. And that may be helping as well. So, all good info. Thanks, Al. Appreciate it. And I've got to run. So you have a great Sunday. We'll talk to you soon. 7-3 for now. This is N1VIV.
Yeah, that agrees with my reading here.
Okay. So it really is just getting better input. Because right now I've got a very, it's got a little bar indicator. Well, it was good for a second there. There we go. I just tapped it again. Yeah, the bar indicator is very high, almost full scale. And that's the reading. So, okay, well, problem solved for now. Okay. Thanks, Al. Take care. Have a great Sunday. N1VIV.
Later. WRVGP.
Good morning.
Hey, Al.
I guess you forgot about me. Sorry I'm in here late. Slept late this morning. My bed says, stay with me, so I could. Oh, everybody, what a great day yesterday, so here we are. Yeah, Joe, the original WA1AEX is a mod monitor. I had somebody had it, but he wanted a little too much. I would like to add that to the addition of my audio rack there. I have his other one, which I like, but yeah, that was a nice unit. The one I'm trying to get him to rebuild again is the other monitor that it shows people's audio coming in. So he discontinued making that. So, but he has the plans, but I was hoping he'd go in reproduction. So, good morning, and cameras, yeah. My AE1. And I ended up going with digital quite a few years back. I forget. I got a Nikon D60. I actually went to Nikon because friends of mine were talking about their Canons and the new stuff, and Canon support just didn't seem to be what it was up to, so we went to Nikon. But there is a company still developing regular 35mm film. Over to you.
Oh, yeah. They do a good job. They do the whole thing. They've been around for 40 years. And it's called The Darkroom. Run that together. TheDarkroom.com. And you can get some really good results with them. You can select the quality of the digital scan that you get. Yeah, what do you want? Hey. Yeah. Well, she's saying hi. Actually, she's licking her chops, so I think she just got through having another little snack. Hey, that's where I recommend. I have a whole list of modern professional-grade developers, but those are the ones that have the least amount of qualifications. The other ones, they have supply issues, and they don't do this, they do that, et cetera, et cetera. These guys have been around for 40 years and enjoy a good reputation, so It's not all right. You know, just remember the old-fashioned days. I mean, the old days with a mailer for Kodak. You know, that's the deal. Don't take them down to your drugstore and get it done. They don't return the negatives, and they do a crappy job, and the people that are doing the work have an attitude problem because they really want a better job with more pay, et cetera, et cetera. So, by all means, use one of these. Like I say, I've got a list of, I can find it, of all the lists of different outfits that do professional quality developing. For example, one of them only does black and white. I mean, come on. If you're going to advertise and picture, single out, why are you just doing black and white? It's only one answer I can think of is that they don't have the expertise to do the other stuff. So anyway, back to you, Al. W1VTP.
Yeah, sorry I missed you there, Rob. My apologies.
No problem, Joe. It's the change of the clocks there. So, yeah, I'm gonna, not this year, maybe after the tax time, I'm gonna make an offer to that person who has that the original rack mount one. Do I have a space in my rack here? No, I don't. I'm gonna have to I might have to buy another rack. Actually, I am. I got the K3 D Henry Classic up on its temporary sitting place for now. I gotta build a rack for it. Those blower fans are they're industrial, so they make quite a bit of noise in there in the shack. No heat, but a bit of noise there. Maybe I'll mount that in there. So yeah, very good. No problem, Joe. Anyway, like I said, we get off to a late start lately Sundays for some reason. I don't know, maybe it's just staying up later because of the great weather. But we've been dabbling in 160 now that we got a configuration of an antenna set up from N1BCG's magical bag of tricks. They should call him Felix the Cat. So. No, I don't know if Murphy would like that. But anyway, yeah, no problem. Yeah, Al. Yeah, what happened to Photomat? Yeah, I guess you're saying the supplies there. I guess the chemicals are getting scarce now?
I don't know. I've never concerned myself with developing. I really couldn't care less about that part of it. I let my professional people take care of those kind of needs, and they do a better job than I have to do. And I mean, that's really getting right down. I mean, I don't mean to insult you or anything, but that is really getting down to the what do you want to call it? The gearhead mode or the well, never mind. I don't want to insult you, but I never, if I have heard people say proudly that they had their own darkroom and so forth and so on, and I ask myself, what's with that? Because unless you're into dodging and burning and this and that and pushing your film, and these darkroom people will push your film. You can shoot ASA 400 or ISO 400 to 800 and tell them that. You just tell them that you've shot it at 800, and they'll adjust the developing. So it's like I say, it's a whole different experience than going down to your nearest Rite Aid and getting your pictures developed.
Yeah, well, no, I understand what you're meaning. I used to go out with a young lady for many years. There was a professional photographer. She had her own beautiful darkroom there. Actually, I used to hang out there with her because a lot of things developed. But anyway, a photographer joke. Yeah, so I know what you mean. And, Kenny Rogers was very much into photography. He was into black and white, and I don't know, I have his book around here somewhere of his shots, and that was it. Once I saw, my father shot black and white, and he never shot very few. Well, yeah, I think he got into color later on, but most of his stuff was in slides. Maybe once in a while, an actual picture there. But he got into slides very much there, and we got boxes and boxes of our entire, life of being seen, growing up and stuff, and vacations and trips and whatever. So I gotta pull that out there. And the original pull-up screen here. Are those still available? Anyway, yeah. So I really heavily got into black and white picturing, and one of the statements I think he made or somebody made, my girlfriend said, well, in the wintertime, basically there is not too much color. The trees and stuff, everything's basically, you don't get too much color. But I got heavily into black and white, and I loved it. I don't know, there was something more that stood out in black and white than color did.
Black and white has its place. It's more suitable for the creative mind, I suppose. That wonder, for example, if you want to emphasize form, shape, lines, convergence, and so on and so forth, if that's what you're into, then black and white might be a medium that you want to explore. But you take a regular, would you go foliage? Would you go shooting the foliage? Well, you would if you were trying to get the perfect maple leaf shape or the perfect oak leaf shape and so on. But normally you'd be using color. And slides, if you've got any Ektachrome, get them scanned into digital photos now. Ektachrome had a problem with their dyes, and there would be a severe color shift, which was actually a fade, and it would eventually fade. I've got my father's old 35 millimeter film slides, and they're almost undiscernible now. The images are completely fake. Of course, he lived in Florida, and Florida, of course, is known for humidity and so on, and he did not live in a air-conditioned living quarters, so his slides were all exposed to that high humidity that Florida has. So as a result, sadly, his pictures are virtually useless now, and because he was heavily into pictures of flowers for time there. So every once in a while he would get a picture of the family down there and so on, and that would be great. But other than that, he didn't do much but just flowers. He had an old 6'20", I think it's 620, Kodak folding camera that he did extensively. Of course, those were black and white, so a lot of the pictures I inherited from him are the big, fairly good-sized photos, and that camera I foolishly gave to my daughter. I have no idea why I did that, but then I've got a better one in better condition. That one was kind of a disaster when then I gave it to her, and no idea why she prizes that, but whatever. Anyway, so black and white forms, shapes, perspective.